through some of my investment accounts, and I don't believe it because I can't see it, right? I can't see the money. I see some graphs, some charts, some ziggly lines. I see numbers going up and down. But the one thing I don't see is money, right? I don't see it in my bank account. I don't see it in my hand. I don't believe it because I can't see it. So here's the thing. Hey, Ross World, my money makes money. I don't believe it because I can't see it. So that's the way your mindset is when it comes to investments. But see, investment basically is taking a stake out in the company. When you own one stock of a company, you own a small fraction of a company. And depending if that's a new company, old company, or well-established company, it will let you know based upon the numbers, right? So most companies who have been established for a very long time push out dividends, but they still have the potential for growth in their stock, okay? So let's take, for instance, Google, right? Or Alphabet, and the subsidiaries of Alphabet is Google. And Google, pretty much at this point, because they're a technology company, they still have so much potential to grow. That's why Google doesn't really give out dividends, okay? Google doesn't give out dividends, but Apple gives out dividends, okay? They give out dividends. So let's use Apple. Let's use Apple as a good example, right? Apple's EPS, the last time I checked was quite some time ago, unfortunately, was around $8. So EPS, earnings per share, basically tells the company, this is how much we can pay our investors. That's you, right? If you have shares in Apple, every share, there's a certain percentage, EPS, $8 you should be getting from that. But Apple doesn't do that. They give people more like $1, $2 per share based upon those numbers, because they're trying to keep a lot of money in-house for innovation, pushing technologies and boundaries, etc. So when you buy a share, whatever entity, Robinhood or Fidelity or Charles Schwab or Morgan Stanley, it doesn't really matter where you buy your stock at. I mean, you probably want to do M1 Finance or Robinhood where it's free. But needless to say, when you buy these shares of that stock, which is a company, you are a owner, very small, right? Depending on how many numbers you have of that company. Now, if you're buying 1 million something shares, you definitely own a big stake in that company for most companies, right? You may even be on the board. You probably want to go to meetings and see where the company is going. You may have influence on production and new technologies and new inventions, etc. But that money is sitting in an investment account in a company of that share that you can see the worth of that company rise and fall, their value. And that is money. So just because you don't see it doesn't mean you have to believe it, because you can see it. So if one day, and this may happen throughout the whole trading day, let's just say, for instance, I don't know how much Apple is worth right now, but let's just say Apple per share is $1,000, and then it jumps up to $1,010, and it jumps up to $1,000 or $1,100, right? Then it may drop because some news came out, or somebody headphones caught on fire, some Apple AirPods or something weird like that. Then the value of that stock decreases. Now, if you bought your share of Apple at $800 and it rose up to $1,100, you just made how much? You made $400, okay? You made $400. So if you were to sell your stock, and if you have a commission price to track that amount, but you will receive $400. So that is the money. Just because you can't see it in a particular account, you have to understand value, you have to understand growth, you have to understand when you pull out and you sell your share, that money is coming to your bank account. And some of you might say, yeah, I totally know that. That's the easy part. The hard part is the dividends, right? The hard part is dividends, because this is actual cash you can route to your bank account, or most times you can reinvest back within that stock. That's compounding dividends, which exponentially grow. Okay, we don't really talk about that. I have plenty of videos. Go check out Ross World. But some of you can't make the connection of, I'm gonna give you money and you're going to put it in your company, then time goes past and all of a sudden my money grows. That's the connection. You just can't believe it. Because you're like, well, I'm giving you a loan. And that's exactly what it is. And I'm banking on you to come full tuition with your loan, meaning your loan, the loan that I give you, you're going to actually make me money off of that, right? People don't say loan, but it's an investment, but it's a loan. But here's the thing with that loan, that's an investment, there's no guarantee. There's no guarantee. Investment is a chance. Now, most people tell you that investing isn't gambling, and I agree. But with some sort of hesitation, it somewhat is a gamble, right? Because when you invest inside a company, the company doesn't promise you that we're going to grow. They give you all these great newsletters. They take these board meetings every quarter and how they're going to produce growth, which is going to make the company millions and billions of dollars. But at the end of the day, when you put your money out there into the investments, into those companies, into those shares, there is no guarantee that you're going to make money. So experts in the game, they look at analytics, they look at data, they look at metrics to say this company has consistently grown, consistently increased their volume, or this company has increased their dividends year by year by year by year. Because you're wondering, how do all these people not work and they're getting all these money from their investment? Oh, I live off my investments. I live off my investments. That's because over the course of time, probably dealing with dollar cost averaging, they bought 2, 3, 4, 5, 1,000 stocks. And the money of dividends they get every quarter, whether it be 3 months or 4 months, could be in the excess of $1,000-something. So a lot of people are living off their investments because of those dividends. And then you have people who would tell you, oh, I would never sell those stocks. That's because they're getting money from them. That's because those stocks are dividend based. But when you start an IPO, right, like say for instance when Snap came out or Beyond Meat came out, they're not going to give you dividends because they're just starting off, right? The only key thing about an IPO, the initial public offer for a particular stock that's selling shares, is that you may get it at a discounted price before it balloons up and hits the market. So with that said, just because you don't see it doesn't mean that you're not making money, because you are. And depending on where you are in life, if you're past the age of maybe 50 or 60, and this is just my opinion, you should have a really good mix of individual stocks, ETFs, index stocks, and also dividend growth stocks or dividend stocks that has been solid and has been paying out. Now, as you get older, I would really allocate a lot of my money into those dividend stocks, right? Because they're going to consistently pay you out and you can be living off your dividends. But the one thing that's really important, that's critical for your financial future is you may not know a lot about investing. You may not know a lot about stocks and bonds and commodities and real estate. But the one thing you should actually look at every now and again is stock news. Because during the recession of 2008, 2009 timeframe, there was a lot of information that gave investors warnings that the market was going to crash and we was going to go into a recession or depression. With that said, instead of cashing out, no. What you do is you take that money within those particular shares and stocks and you push it over into ETFs and index funds. Because even during those times, there were index stocks that were still performing well. And you must diversify on a global scale, not just for America. So I urge you to learn just a little bit about investing and to have diversification in all markets, even globally, because there were still countries who wasn't going through a recession when we were, even though we kind of control the world market in a sense, because when we do bad, majority of other people do bad. But some people, when they was transferring their money into ETFs and index funds, it's like hedging your stock, like having insurance for your stocks, because ETFs and index stocks have been doing great over the course of time. And of course on Ross Ware, I have plenty of videos you can just search, on my channel for those particular videos. So learn money and be inspired. And believe me, some of you can't see the money and some of you can't. But believe me, it's worth investing. And I urge you, either be $5, $10, or $25 a month. I'm out.